Great day to good people. This is James. This is my takeaways from the first section of the video, applying that knowledge from Anthony Robbins towards an online business, which is amazing. Okay, here we go. So the first video, don't make any excuses. Okay, so these are some of the excuses people called out in the audience which he was conducting his seminar. Some of the excuses, and what I've done is pulled out one of my books called Brian Tracy's No Excuses. Okay, my takeaway was I have all the resources that I need to achieve what I want, and also resourcefulness is the most important aspects of resources. To be your resourcefulness, that's powerful. Have a great day. See you in the next video.
Let's talk about what nobody wants to talk about. Who here has ever failed? Who's here has failed miserably at something you wanted to achieve? Say I. Who's done this more than once? Say I. When you failed, why did you fail? Why are you suddenly tongue-tied? Come on, tell you what. What did you used to say the reason you failed when you were bullshitting yourself? You know I know better, so you're not telling me the truth. What did you used to say? I failed because? Okay, good. I didn't have enough money. What else? Didn't have the right technology. Good, sir. Why'd you fail? I had the wrong people. They say I had the wrong leader. Isn't that interesting? It was the economy. Bad economy. Not enough time. Didn't have enough time. Now, I asked this question for the first time about 7 years ago. I was at this place called TED. Anybody watching those TED videos? And TED didn't have a website or anything at that stage. It was a very small program. It was done for about 800 people in Silicon Valley, most of them billionaire investors, the founders of Yahoo, the founders of Apple, the founders of a whole series of companies. And I was brought in, and they say, you got 18 minutes, which my shortest seminar is 4 fucking days. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then before they introduced me, the guy who was introducing me wasn't the guy who invited me, and he was an English guy. We're good friends today. But back then, he didn't know who I was. He thought I was a motivator. So he got up and he said, first thing he said to me before I went out there, he goes, nice to meet you. Don't have people do that jumping shit I heard you do. So he wants me to take these dead people and leave them dead in this dark room sitting. And I watched before I got up to speak, and there was a woman who was a genius, and she was teaching string theory, which is one of the most complex things on earth. And they gave her 18 minutes, and people were shuffling their feet. And at the end, they didn't even clap for her. They were assholes. They all thought their shit didn't stink. These are all the achievers of the world. So I walk out there, and the introduction he gives me is Tony Robbins is like a motivator. And he's helped a lot of sports people, so maybe you can, create some energy here. He had a very publicized divorce a few years ago. I couldn't fucking believe it. He really did say that. If you watch the TED video, he cut that out because he's embarrassed. So I got up afterwards and I said, God, it's a privilege to be here. I said, I didn't know that my divorce was very publicized, but my ex-wife is very happy. She has tens of millions of dollars, but I didn't come about that. I came to serve you. And then I was trying to figure out how to engage this room, so I asked them a question just asked you. I said, who here has ever failed? And no one raised their hand in the whole fucking room. So I paused and I said, I know you're out there. I can hear your hearts beating. Who here has ever failed? And I demanded an answer, and then a few people raised their hand. I said, who here has ever failed? And now they started to comply. So I said, great. When you failed, why did you fail? And they said all the things you said. Didn't have enough time, didn't have the right technology, didn't have the money, didn't have the contacts, had the wrong people. The people said we had the wrong leader, right? And then this voice in the darkness, the whole room was pitch black, says, I didn't have enough Supreme Court justices. And I looked down, and it's Vice President Al Gore, who you probably don't know much about American politics, but he and Bush Jr., they tied, basically, and had to go to our Supreme Court to decide who's going to be it, and he lost. And when he said that, we were in Northern California, which is all Democrats, would have been supporters of his. They all stood up and gave him a standing ovation when he said this. And when they stopped the standing ovation, I said, that's one way to try to